My name is Isabella, come on the adventure. Join a revolution, kids only, yeah. Meet great mentors, share adventures, help us follow our dreams.
Give me a big serve. Ready to go. Whoop.
We are the future, it's all in you. We have the magic. What's your dream? Create, invent, write, bake, design, innovate. Bring it all together. Kidpreneur, kidpreneur. Kids rocking it, yeah!
Next one.
Chipmunk.
What sort of chipmunk?
Mr. Whalley, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with me today.
Isabella, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. You're a Chief Entrepreneur at the Office of Chief Entrepreneur South Australia and a co-founder and chairman and executive director of the Nova Group and a former RAAF fighter pilot and test pilot.
That's true. I had a misspent youth.
Well, I think it would have been a very good misspent youth because it's given you a lot of ideas of an entrepreneur, and testing things out is very important to know when you want what you want to do something, and I think you would have been a very good pilot.
Oh, thanks, Isabella. But you know, you're right, because when you're an entrepreneur, you're sort of like a test pilot, but you're like a test pilot for businesses. So entrepreneurs start up businesses and they sort of test fly them, and hopefully they work and they turn into really, really great businesses that employ lots of people and provide lots of jobs.
I think Nova would have been one of those hit ones that you made.
It was, and I was really, really lucky that the test flight of Nova worked out pretty well, and it's still flying, and it's got about 800 people all over the world now.
Oh my goodness. We first met at the Heathfield High School Entrepreneurial Specialised Program launch earlier this year, and we both wanted to help encourage kids to get started with their great ideas.
Exactly right, because one of the things we're doing in South Australia is we've got a whole lot of entrepreneurial high schools, and Heathfield's one of the main ones as well. So that's where we want kids like yourself to get interested in entrepreneurship.
And this program is absolutely fundamental to what we are trying to achieve in the state. Entrepreneurship is not just about making money, it's not just about business, it's about solving problems in the world that really matter. The Inspire part starts with young people like yourselves. If you've got a passion or if you've got something you're really, really interested in, we want to give you an entrepreneurial mindset so that you can turn that into a job, into a business, into all sorts of things and pursue that passion. We really want you to all be the heroes of the next generation. The next part of it is to make sure that we have the infrastructure, and that's things like Heathfield High School, it's things like Lot 14 in Adelaide, it's things like our universities that enable you to carry out your jobs and the things you want to do. I really, really hope you enjoy this program, and I hope it gives you opportunities to pursue the real passions that you have in life and make careers of them. Thank you.
What advice would you offer to children who dream to be a pilot?
So if you really want to do that, then you can do it. So I think it's really, really important to have those sorts of dreams and pursue them really, really hard. My dad had been in the Air Force during the Second World War, so that's probably where I got a little bit interested in aeroplanes. From when I was very young, probably about 4 or 5 years old, I wanted to be a pilot in the Air Force, so I had a really, really clear goal, and I knew what I had to study and what I had to do to get there. Unfortunately for my teachers, most of my projects were on aeroplanes. So I was what they would call obsessive, and I probably still am a little bit, but I still love aeroplanes. Just 50 metres over the other side there is the Australian Space Agency, so if you decided maybe one day you want to be an astronaut, guess what? You're at the right age now to start thinking about, oh, I could be an astronaut if I wanted to be, and go to not only the moon, but maybe to Mars.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people would like to go to Mars. I know there's nothing on there, but I think we're just going to turn it into like a duplicate of Earth so our population can explore more. Do you think it is important to follow your dreams?
I think it's totally important. I think one of the great things about living in Australia is we have so much opportunity and we can follow our dreams, and I think it's really, really important to find something in life that you love doing. I think sometimes it can be hard for kids because their parents want them to be happy lives and sometimes not take too much in the way of risks, and that sometimes climbing a tree or, starting a business or do something that's a bit different. And, as parents, we want what's best for our kids, and so sometimes we probably don't encouraging them to do really, really crazy things like be fighter pilots or be rock stars or whatever it may be. Sometimes we have to convince our parents and our friends that this is what we're really passionate about and that we can make a life out of this. And my job is to make sure that there's lots more entrepreneurs, and if kids like you want to be entrepreneurs, I'm going to help make that happen.
We were given these amazing entrepreneurs themselves to help us and chat to us and give us ideas.
My name is Isabella, come on the adventure, join a revolution.
The Shark Tank E-School that's run by Adelaide Uni, because that's to give young kids a bit of a chance to see what being an entrepreneur is like and see if they like it. And when you do programs like that, you get experiences of all the same sort of stuff you get in business. So it's a good way to find out if that's the sort of career that's for you. And obviously, if you win it, how cool is that?
And the E-Challenge was quite similar. People were blending with different age groups to be entrepreneurs. But I think the best part was being an entrepreneur, you don't always succeed, as you said earlier. That when you learn about those sorts of things, when you're a participant, you learn what you need to improve about your business.
The staff were so excited. There was a lot of support. We were given these amazing entrepreneurs themselves to help us and chat to us and give us ideas and guidance. So I would definitely recommend it.
It's almost like flying a flight simulator where, if you don't do things quite right, if you do have an accident, guess what? You can turn the switch off and reset it and start again. And that's the great thing about an E-Challenge is you can get to learn in a really, really, really good environment, but it's a safe environment as well. And you can take risks and try different things.
What did you do next?
Well, after I left the Air Force, I started Nova, so the Nova group, and that's how I sort of accidentally became an entrepreneur. I wasn't very good at spelling entrepreneur before I became one. And the business grew, and it was like, as I say, testing a new airplane, was testing a new business and a new idea. But I was really, really lucky because I had lots of friends and family that supported me. And my wife, Melinda, who helped me, and she had a business background as well, so it was really good because I was just a pretty simple fighter pilot.
What is the toughest part about being an entrepreneur?
Well, I think the tough part about it is understanding that things don't work sometimes, and that you can try different things and try different businesses, and sometimes they fail. And you've got to pick yourself up and be positive and say, hey, I'm going to have another go, and also try to learn as many lessons as you possibly can. So if something does go wrong, as I say, it's like test flying. If things go wrong, what do you do next, and how do you fix it, and how can you make it better next time?
What is the best part of about being an entrepreneur?
The great part about being an entrepreneur is you get to meet lots of other entrepreneurs, and most entrepreneurs are pretty exciting, pretty positive and pretty optimistic people, and they've got great ideas and they want to change the world and do great things, and they want to build businesses that sort out problems, and they want to employ people and give people jobs, and they want to go to the moon and go to Mars and build businesses and solve all sorts of problems that really, really matter to people. Entrepreneurs are usually pretty exciting people, and that's a great environment to be in.
Can you share with us what have been the greatest challenges along the way?
Certainly I know when I started Nova with Pete, we had some real challenges to start with. We weren't sure whether the business would work, and we had a couple of early wins, and then we had a couple of early fails, and we had to sort of have a think about what we were doing. And it was hard work. About 6 months after we started, we were doing pretty well and we're getting some work, and then nothing happened. And there was about 3 or 4 months where there was no work, and I was wondering, what am I going to do, and have we made a good choice? When we had that period of time, and when the work stopped, and it was okay probably for a couple of weeks because we just were all pretty optimistic and we thought some work had come in, but after about a month with no work coming in, we were actually starting to get a bit scared, and we had to put on a bit of a brave face and be confident to people out there. And a few people were saying, oh, Jim, have you done the right thing? You sure you don't want to come back to the Air Force? Is this a good idea, and is it too hard to do Nova? And I just thought, no, I can't give up. I've got to be like the Energizer Bunny and keep on going. Sometimes people will say no to you and say you can't do this and you can't do that, and you're silly for trying. But you've got to keep convinced that if that's your goal and if that's what you really want to do, you just keep going ahead and say, yeah, I can do that and nothing's going to get in my way. And I think that was one of the big lessons I learned from when I was in Nova.
Were you surprised by Premier Stephen Marshall's announcement to you, quote, Jim, I've got a great idea. I'm going to create an office for the chief entrepreneur.
My name is Isabella. Come on the adventure. Join the revolution.
Were you surprised by Premier Stephen Marshall's announcement to you, quote, Jim, I've got a great idea. I'm going to create an office for the chief entrepreneur, and there's going to be a chief entrepreneur.
I was absolutely inspired by it, and I thought that was a great idea until he turned around to me and said, and Jim, you're it. Because I didn't think I'd be good enough to do it, but I was really, really honoured to be asked by the Premier to do it. And I'm a very, very proud South Australian, and I've got a family here, and it was nice to be able to do something to say thank you to South Australia for all the great things it's given me.
What is the role of chief entrepreneur?
Well, the chief entrepreneur is the chair of the Entrepreneurship Advisory Board, which is a group of, again, really, really great entrepreneurs. And we basically help provide advice to the government on how they can make entrepreneurship easier in South Australia. We have a strategy called FIX, which is the Future Industries Exchange for Entrepreneurs. And under that strategy, what we try to do is inspire, equip, enable, and celebrate entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship. So hopefully South Australia will be the home of great entrepreneurship in Australia, and I hope one day the world. One of the nice things about having places like Tonsley and Lot 14 is we've got all the entrepreneurs in one place together. And the great part about that is they can talk to each other and mix with each other and bounce ideas off each other. But you know, sometimes when they're having a bad day, then the entrepreneurs can have a bit of a chat to another entrepreneur and say, guess what, I just lost that contract, or I didn't get that sale, or whatever it is. And it's sometimes really, really good to have someone that understands what it's like. We've got this really fabulous facility right here at Lot 14, which you can see behind us, which is the site of the old Royal Adelaide Hospital, where people can start their businesses and do some really, really great stuff. And this is probably the largest entrepreneurial neighbourhood in the Southern Hemisphere. So there's lots of great things that happen, and there's lots more great things that are going to happen here in the future.
Why is this a priority to the South Australian government?
Because I think entrepreneurship is a lot about future jobs and future industries, and things like cyber and things like artificial intelligence and machine learning, and the Internet of Things and space and lots of creative industries and energy and ag tech and biotech and all those sorts of things. And entrepreneurship is one of the things that really, really drives that development and drives that progress.
Mr. Whalley, which of your real life situations that you have faced with the Nova Group would you say are the most valuable to include in a case study for high school students?
Look, I think one of the really interesting ones and really exciting ones was when we were involved in getting the International Astronautical Conference to Adelaide in 2017. And Pete Nikolov and myself and lots of other people were really, really keen that we had a space agency. So one of the things we did was we developed a bit of a strategy, and a whole lot of people developed a bit of a strategy for how we could do that. And Nova made a very small contribution to that by asking a good friend of mine, Colonel Pamela Melroy, who's the one of only 2 women to command the space shuttle, to come and live and work in Australia and help us inspire people to do that. And that was a bit of a risk for us because that was reasonably expensive to go out there, but we thought it was the right thing to do. And we were really hopeful by having some inspirational people like Pam in Australia, that would help create a case for the space agency. And Pam and I got to visit the Prime Minister and talk to him about how important it was for us to have a space agency, and we talked to the Premier, and the Premier was really, really supportive. We managed to go around and convince everyone that the best place for the space agency was right here in South Australia.
Mr. Whalley, it has been fantastic speaking with you.
Isabella, it's been fantastic speaking with you, and I know you're going to do great things as an entrepreneur. It's great talking to you, and thanks for having me on the show.
I have a gift for you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that is magnificent. Yeah, you've got to be able to stand up on chairs if you're going to be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
It's all about taking risks. Here's the aeroplane recognition test. And Will's done stuff for Apple, made Apple programs and all sorts of cool stuff, and actually been to America to meet the CEO of Apple.
My name is Isabella. Come on the adventure. Join the revolution.
I won't cheat, all right? This is real pressure now. All right, are you ready to go? Aeroplane test.
F-18.
Rightio.
World War II Mustang.
All right, next one.
Alpha Jet.
That is an Alpha Jet.
DC-3.
Well, these are all ones I've flown, I think.
Harrier Jet.
I fly a Harrier as well, good job!
P-40.
P-40 Kitty Hawk, my dad flew those as well. That's it. With shark teeth and everything.
Are they supposed to have those on there?
That's it. Most P-40s have shark teeth on them.
Oh.
Makes them look scary. Last one.
Jaguar.
Okay, Jaguar, well done. Flew those too. Fantastic. You are definitely going to be an entrepreneur then one day, Isabel. There's no question about it. But you'll have to be a pilot first because you're dressed for the part. Chris helps make entrepreneurs.
It would be very fun mentoring new beginners.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Chris will introduce you to some entrepreneurs. Do you want to come and
why don't you come and meet one of our youngest entrepreneurs, actually.
Yeah.
You just finished high school. This is Will Bishop.
Hello.
Will is one of our youngest startups. He actually just finished high school last year.
And Will's done stuff for Apple, made Apple programs and all sorts of cool stuff, and actually been to America to meet the CEO of Apple.
Wow.
It was a pretty surreal experience. They don't really tell you he's going to be in the room, and then he just rocks up, and yeah, it was pretty crazy.
This is one of the best days of my life.
It's pretty cool in here, isn't it? This is where the new entrepreneurship and innovation centre is going to be. The space agency is over there, and over that way is the Australian Institute of Machine Learning. So there's some really, really exciting things in future industries and technologies that we're doing right here in the city of Adelaide.
So, what we've got here is a Stone and Chalk t-shirt for you to grow into.
Thank you.
And on the back it says, never stop starting.
Which you need to do when you're an entrepreneur. We've got a visual on the spaceman.
Wow. This place is big.
There's the spaceman right there. This is in the bottom of the space agency.
Oh, wow.
Hi everyone. Looks pretty good with this on his head too. How's that? And you can see your reflection in there too. So Isabel, this is going to be the new Space Discovery Centre where everyone can learn about space and all the sorts of different careers and jobs in space. And so this room here is going to be all turned into to this thing here. And there's going to be a mission control as well, so you'll be able to see how all the satellites are controlled in space. So have you ever seen movies like Apollo 11 and Apollo 13? You know, where they're launching the rockets and all that sort of stuff. There's all the people with a whole lot of consoles. And inspiring, hopefully, the next generation and people like you to maybe take up jobs in entrepreneurship, in space, in technology, and all sorts of really, really cool stuff. If you have a look right here, see the Space Agency symbol? The Australian Space Agency, so you got the same symbol there, do you see? And all the dots, these are Aboriginal, this is Aboriginal dot art. They all mean quite different things, yeah? So it's pretty cool that the Australian Space Agency, the graphic for it, really takes advantage of Australia's Aboriginal heritage, which is obviously really important. And there's lots of stories with Aborigines about the stars and about space. So I think it's a really nice connection. Go and push that big green button, just to be very careful when you do it though. So, how was that for your tour of Lot 14?
Really fun.
I say thanks for coming, Isabella. I had a great time too talking to you.
Thank you.
Fantastic.